Hey, I'm Wylene Benson, and our video today is on overcoming challenges. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. Hey everybody, this is Wylene Benson, and we're going to talk today about overcoming challenges. And I want to take a look at this word challenge for just a minute. Challenge can be this positive connotation of I'm up to the challenge, I'm ready for the challenge, I'm ready to take on the challenge. Yeah, bring that challenge on, and just being so excited to face that challenge and to actually tackle it and overcome it. And so challenge can be a really positive thing. And I also want to just put a little twist on this and just have you take a look at this word challenge in a different perspective as well. That challenge can also be challenging. It can be almost a negative connotation of something that you have to overcome. And this is challenging for me. I'm going through a challenging circumstance. And there's a lot of different ways that we can look at this word, but in the end, it's kind of the same word. So I'm going to invite you to maybe upgrade that word just slightly to the word strengthening. So rather than calling them challenges, let's call them strengthening experiences, because who doesn't want to get stronger, right? So let's talk a little bit about this idea of getting stronger. When I go to the gym and I'm working out and I'm pushing these weights, I'm strengthening my muscles and I'm putting stress on my muscles. I'm actually pushing my muscles beyond what they could do in the past. If I want a muscle to grow, then I'm going to actually push it to the point where it tears, where it breaks it down so that it can create more growth. So this idea of strengthening is something that we aspire to. It's something that we invite, something that we actually even seek out, proactively do. And I'm going to term this kind of stress that we're putting on our bodies external stress, okay? This is external. We're going to the gym, we're using weights, we're doing something on the outside of us to create more strength physically. And the physical body and the mind grow by external stress. And so I've talked about lifting weights. And I also, with the mind, we might read a book. We might perform a puzzle or something that we have to really think about to exercise our mind, to increase our mental capacity, to increase our mental strength. So there's different ways that we can strengthen our physical body and we can strengthen our mental, our minds. The mind and the body are finite. We get tired. Our brain starts to shut down after a certain amount of time of studying. We're just like, okay, I'm fried. I got to go take a break. Our bodies, we can only do so much before we have to take a break, before we have to sleep, before we have to rest. So I'm going to introduce to you a second kind of stress, and that's an internal stress. We live in a physical world. And there's a lot of emphasis placed on our physical bodies. It's what people see, it's how we get around, it's what we do. We interact with our physical bodies and with other people's physical bodies all day long, every day. And we interact with the physical world. I think sometimes we forget that there's an internal energy underneath that has even more stamina and even more power than the physical body ever could. Because like I mentioned, the physical body is limited before it has to rest. Stressing our physical bodies and stressing our minds to the limit and even beyond the limit where we actually have to rest can be a really good thing. Because once the physical has been stressed beyond its limit, then the spiritual and the heart have to take over. Have you ever heard of someone who was stretched to their physical limit and somehow they found the heart to keep going. That's what I mean by heart and spirit. It's that mental capacity, it's that physical capacity beyond the cellular makeup of our physical bodies can actually do, or our minds can actually do. For most people, it takes physical stress, mental stress, before we finally will just allow that part of our bodies to step aside so that the spirit and the heart can take over. And that's okay in the beginning, but eventually I invite you to get to a point where you let your spirit lead, you let your heart lead, and then you allow your physical body and your mental body, your mind, to just be led. So how do you overcome challenges in your life? First of all, don't see them as challenges. See them as strengthening experiences. And then choose to let your internal energy take over. Any kind of challenge, any kind of strengthening experience, if we're using our physical body and our mental capacity alone to try to overcome, eventually we're going to wear out. There's only so much stress that the physical body and the mind can take before it snaps. However, that internal energy, your heart, your spirit, there's limitless capacity there. And so when you're overcoming a challenge, when you're faced with overcoming a challenge, just allow your spirit to take over, allow your spirit to lead, and just invite your physical body and your mental capacity to just observe, step aside, let your heart and your spirit take over. And in doing this, you avoid the pain and suffering of working so hard on this challenge until you finally give up, until your physical body and your mental body just gives up, and then the spirit and the heart can take over. Instead, just make the choice to use that limitless energy to enjoy this ride as a strengthening experience. So when you're faced with a challenge, rather than putting your physical body and your mental capacity just to the test and trying with everything that you've got to physically overcome this challenge, just make the choice to allow your physical body and your mental capacity to relax and allow your heart and your spirit to lead. And then your physical body and your mental capacity just does the work. It does the work that your heart and your spirit tells it to. And so you avoid all that pain and suffering. And as you let your spirit and your heart lead, then you're not going to see these as challenges. You're going to see them as strengthening exercises, strengthening experiences. And then all of a sudden, it just becomes a joy. It becomes an opportunity for growth, and you're operating from a space of limitless capacity. All right, so now you know challenges are just strengthening experiences, and they're for our good, and they're awesome. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.